name is Nicholas Garrison, and I have the answer to a question I know you've all been wondering. Is there a national park with a brewery, spa, and bathhouse? There is, and it's just in Hot Springs, Arkansas, about 8 hours away from here. So, let me teach you a little bit about its history, the environment, and its current state. So, you might be wondering, why should you care about just a little old national park? Because it has greatly shaped the local American history there and is a fine example of the benefits of nature to the citizens. So, let's begin with my credentials. I spent over 200 hours working as a volunteer at the national park. I spent 2.5 months working at Lake Ouachita State Park, which was a neighboring park to Hot Springs, and I also helped the 2024 Solar Eclipse Festival, which oversaw 10,000 visitors, which was an incredible experience. So, let's begin with its history. Beginning in 1804, after the Louisiana Purchase, the Hunter and Dunbar expedition would later come across the territory and discover these revitalizing hot springs. In 1807, a various amount of log cabins were built around for a sort of health resort on this frontier territory. So, why did people care about these hot springs? It's hot and it's rocky. Because spas feel nice. Think about when you come home after work, you go to the shower, you're great for the night. And for the morning when you shower. So, after a long day of frontiersman activities such as hunting and traveling, and just making sure no one died, a spa was a very nice treat to them. So, this was recognized by Arkansas legislature in 1920, when they tried to pass a bill to consider it as a federal reserve land. So, it took a little while, but finally, in 1832, by President Andrew Jackson, he signed it and everything was good. Except Congress didn't, so squatters could still enjoy the baths and make as many log cabins as they wished. Which, personally, I'm a fan of the accessibility, as later on we'll kind of see where that started to drop. So, starting in 1878, what goes great with hot springs? Fires that burn down all of your log cabins. Now you might be wondering, well, that probably doesn't sound like a good combination, except the people were very thankful for it, because they were so happy to get rid of the old rugged frontiersman aesthetic and embrace the construction of a spa city. Now, as detailed in NPS's Hot Springs National Park History and Culture article on their page of nps.gov in 2022, the hot springs were then adopted into bathhouses, but formally constructed in 1880 to 1888 as new Victorian architectures. So, this absolute decline of the rugged aesthetic gave rise to a more appealing, luxurious lifestyle to the local people, which also created, unfortunately, a little divide in the common and the elite people. But that was seen just about everywhere in the United States, so take it with a grain of salt. Now, starting on March 4th, 1921, this place was actually recognized as a national park finally, because of how useful its little hot springs were, and also just because of how nice the trails were through the mountains. However, in the 1960s, either due to the growing divide between common and elite, and also issues regarding Jim Crow laws and other racial tensions at the time, there was a decline in the interest of the bathhouses as interest resided elsewhere. But luckily, later on, in November 13th, 1974, the National Register of Historical Places recognized hot springs as a part of its little family, which increased desire to revitalize these bathhouses after they unfortunately went out of commission. So, you might be wondering, could I visit these today? You absolutely can, and I'd recommend it. So, let's begin with the Lamar Bathhouse. That acts as the National Park's gift shop, which has many great little posters, such as this one. I love this one. Now, moving on, you'll find the Maurice Bathhouse, which is currently out of commission, but currently going through some processes to figure out how to use it better. Going on from there, you'll find the Quapaw and the Buckstaff. The Buckstaff was the only bathhouse that didn't go out of commission, but today they are currently both functioning spas that you can go. Next to that will be the Fordyce, followed by the Hale and the Superior Bathhouse. Now, the Hale and the Superior are both customer service bathhouses, revitalized as a brewery in the Superior and a hotel in the Hale. So, if you're ever looking for a place to stay and a good place to get some grub, you can get some on-site spring water beer at your good old Superior and a nice place to rest at the Hale. Now, let's move on to the Fordyce. This acts as its current historical and visitor center for the national park. They have 3 floors, and if you need the basement, there's a restroom in it. I remember that because of how many people asked it. So, inside you can find various plaques that have different information about the whole park and its history. I'd recommend it there. Now, what's behind these bathhouses? That would be the Grand Promenade, which would lead onto the trailheads. These trailheads would start at the Peak Trail and lead to the observation tower, which you could oversee the whole national park. Going from there, you can then head to Goat Rock Park for about a 2.5-mile hike. Now, I hope I've sold the history and the environment of Hot Springs National Park to you, and that you feel the desire to visit it. It is a great 6 to 7 hour or 8-hour road trip, and ultimately overall, it gives you the power to complain to other national parks about their lack of breweries and spas. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you visit Hot Springs.